Hey everyone. Um, okay. I have been doing this for a very long time. A very long time. And in all those years, I have never picked up on something like this before. This is unprecedented. What I'm feeling right now is so layered and so specific and so intense that I had to sit with it for a while before I even turned on this camera because I wanted to make sure I was actually feeling what I thought I was feeling before I shared it with you. And I am. This is real. This is happening right now. Welcome back. It's Anna. And never in my 15 years of experience has something like this come through the way it's coming through today. The energy around you right now is um, unlike anything I've encountered before. It's dense, it's significant. It's the kind of energy that makes me stop and pay attention because it doesn't show up often. So I need you to pay attention too. Let me try to describe what I'm actually feeling as I tune into this because words almost don't cover it. There's a quality in your current reality that feels like convergence, like multiple threads that have been running separately for a very long time are suddenly meeting in the same place, the same moment, the same space. And the intersection of all of them is creating something that none of them could have created individually. Some people experience this as a sudden sense that everything is connected, that the seemingly random events of their life are actually part of a much larger pattern, that the pieces they couldn't make sense of before are finally assembling into a picture. It might feel like you're standing in the middle of something you can't quite see the full shape of yet, like you're too close to it to understand its magnitude. Like you need to step back to see what's actually happening, but stepping back isn't possible because you're living inside it. Let me just stop here for a second because I need you to really understand how rare this is. In all my years of doing this, I've seen patterns, I've felt energies, I've picked up on shifts and transitions and changes. But what's present around you right now, it's different in quality. It's different in intensity. It's different in the way it feels. This reflection invites you to consider, what if you're currently experiencing something that most people never experience in their lifetime? That might sound dramatic, I know, but I'm not saying it for effect. I'm saying it because that's genuinely what I'm sensing. There's something about your current situation, your current state, your current position in your own life that is extraordinary, even if it doesn't feel extraordinary from the inside. You may be going through your days feeling completely normal, completely ordinary, completely unremarkable. And meanwhile, something is happening in the architecture of your life that is anything but ordinary. It's possible you're at a point where multiple years of growth and experience and pain and healing are all coming together at once, where the work you've been doing on yourself, sometimes consciously and sometimes just through surviving, is producing results that are compounding in ways you can't track. In some situations, transformation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send you a notification that says, hey, something major is happening. It just happens. And you don't see it until you look back. Hold on. Let me get specific about what this convergence actually looks like. There are probably multiple areas of your life that are shifting simultaneously right now. Not one big dramatic change, but several smaller shifts that together create a completely different landscape. Maybe your relationship dynamics are changing. Maybe your professional situation is evolving. Maybe your internal relationship with yourself is deepening. Maybe your health is shifting. Maybe your finances are reorganizing. Maybe your creativity is awakening. And all of these things are happening at the same time, in the same season, in the same breath of your life. Some people experience this as feeling overwhelmed, not by one thing, but by everything at once. Like there's too much happening to process any single piece of it fully. Like you're trying to drink from a fire hose and you can't keep up. You may have been feeling exhausted lately in a way that doesn't match your physical activity level. This isn't just tiredness. This is the kind of deep cellular exhaustion that comes from massive internal reorganization. Your system is working overtime, processing, integrating, recalibrating, all at once, all simultaneously. And that takes an enormous amount of energy that most people don't account for. This reflection invites you to consider, what if the exhaustion you're feeling is actually evidence of how much is currently changing inside you? Let me talk about why this particular convergence is so unusual. It's possible that the specific combination of things happening in your life right now is creating a kind of perfect storm, not a destructive storm, a generative one, where conditions that rarely align are aligning, where factors that almost never meet are meeting. Some situations only occur once in a person's life, a specific window where everything lines up in just the right way, where the timing of your growth meets the timing of external opportunity, meets the timing of your readiness, meets the timing of the universe's, let's call it arrangement. You may have been in the preparation phase for a very long time, maybe years, maybe a decade, maybe longer, working on yourself without seeing clear results, growing without knowing you were growing, healing without feeling healed. But all of that preparation was leading to this specific moment where everything you've built internally becomes visible externally. And the reason it feels so unprecedented is that it is for you. This particular configuration of growth and opportunity and readiness and timing is unique to your specific journey. This reflection invites you to consider, what if everything you've been going through has been building toward exactly this moment? There's something about the depth of what's happening that I need to address. It's possible what's occurring right now isn't just surface level change. It's not just a new job or a new relationship or a new living situation. It's a fundamental shift in who you are at your core, a reimagining of your identity that goes deeper than any external circumstance. Some people go through their entire lives making changes on the outside while staying exactly the same on the inside. They change jobs and relationships and locations, but they're the same person in different settings. But what's happening with you is the opposite. The inside is changing, the foundation is shifting, the way you see yourself, understand yourself, relate to yourself is fundamentally reorganizing. And that kind of deep change, it ripples outward. It affects everything. It reshapes every relationship, every opportunity, every interaction, because you're showing up as someone genuinely different, even if no one on the outside can see it yet. You may be experiencing moments of profound disorientation lately, times when you don't recognize your own reactions, times when you respond to situations in ways that surprise you, times when your old patterns come up and suddenly feel foreign, like they belong to someone else. That disorientation, that's not a sign something is wrong. That's a sign something fundamental is changing. This reflection invites you to consider, where in your life are you feeling most unfamiliar with yourself right now? Let me slow down here because I want to talk about something specific that never in 15 years have I felt this clearly. There's a quality of protection around you right now that's unusual. Not protection from outside, but from within. Like your own internal landscape has become a fortress, not in a closed off way, in a grounded way, in a way that says nothing can shake what's being built here. It's possible you're currently more stable internally than you've ever been, even if externally things look chaotic or uncertain or in flux. There's this bedrock inside you that wasn't there before, this deep knowing that doesn't waver regardless of what's happening on the surface. Some people experience this as a sudden calmness in the face of chaos, where things that would have sent them spiraling before just don't anymore. Where stress exists, but it doesn't penetrate the way it used to. You may have noticed this shift in yourself without naming it. A friend might have commented that you seem different, more centered, more grounded, more solid, and they're right. Something has solidified in you that makes you genuinely harder to shake. This reflection invites you to consider, when did you start feeling more internally stable than externally unstable? There's something about how others are perceiving you right now that adds another layer to this. It's possible people are noticing changes in you that you haven't fully registered yourself. They're seeing something in you that's new, something that wasn't there before, something that makes them interact with you differently, even if they can't articulate why. Some people experience this as a shift in how rooms feel when they enter them, how conversations change tone when they start talking, how people's body language adjusts when they're nearby. You may have been catching these moments, the way someone's posture shifts, the way attention gravitates, the way conversations include you more naturally than they used to. And it's not because you're performing differently. It's because you are different, genuinely, fundamentally, at a level that communicates itself without words. This reflection invites you to consider, have you noticed people treating you differently lately without any obvious reason why? It might be subtle, easy to dismiss, but if you pay attention, if you actually track these moments, you might realize there are more of them than you thought. Let me talk about something that felt genuinely shocking when it came through. There's a door in your current reality that you haven't walked through yet. Not a literal door, obviously, but an opportunity or a possibility or a path that's currently available to you that you might be looking right at without recognizing it as significant. It's possible this door looks unremarkable on the surface. It doesn't have a dramatic sign on it. It doesn't announce itself as life-changing. It might actually look like the most ordinary thing in the world, but walking through it would change things in ways you can't predict from where you're standing. Some people miss these moments because they're looking for something more obvious, more dramatic, more clearly labeled as important. They're scanning for the grand opportunity while standing directly in front of the quiet one. You may be doing this right now, looking past something that's right in front of you because it doesn't match your expectations of what a significant opportunity should look like. This reflection invites you to consider what's in front of you right now that you might be overlooking because it seems too simple or too small. There's something about your relationship with yourself that's coming through with unusual clarity. It's possible you're currently in the process of genuinely liking yourself, not performing self-love, not forcing positivity, actually arriving at a place where you look at who you are and feel okay with it, even good about it. Some people never get there. They spend their entire lives in a state of low-grade self-rejection, constantly improving, constantly trying to be better, constantly measuring themselves against standards that shift every time they get close to meeting them. But something in you is settling, accepting, arriving at a relationship with yourself that doesn't require constant improvement to feel worthy. And that shift, that is genuinely rare. That might be the most significant thing that's currently happening in your life, and you might not even be tracking it as significant because it feels so quiet. You may have noticed you're less critical of yourself lately, less harsh in your internal dialogue, less likely to spiral into shame when you make a mistake, more willing to extend yourself the same compassion you extend to others. That's not a small shift. That's everything. That's the foundation that everything else is building on. This reflection invites you to consider, when did you start being kinder to yourself? Let me talk about what this unprecedented energy means in practical terms. It's possible you need to pay more attention to your current life than you have been, not in an anxious way, in a curious way. You might need to start noticing things you've been sleepwalking past. Start tracking moments that feel slightly different. Start paying attention to impulses and ideas and possibilities that are trying to get your attention. Some people go through extraordinary periods of their lives completely unaware because they're on autopilot. They're so focused on getting through each day that they miss the significance of what's actually unfolding. You may be on autopilot right now, moving through your routines without really being present to what's happening around you and inside you. And in doing so, you might be missing signals that are trying to tell you something important. This reflection invites you to consider what would change if you slowed down and actually paid attention to what's currently present in your life. It might feel uncomfortable at first. Slowing down means feeling things more intensely, noticing more, being present to both the beauty and the difficulty of what's happening. But it also means not missing your own life while it's happening. There's something about creativity and expression that's showing up strongly right now. It's possible there's something inside you that wants to come out, something you've been sitting on, something you've been too afraid or too busy or too doubtful to express. And the energy around you right now is practically vibrating with the need to release it. Some people carry creative impulses for years without acting on them. They tell themselves they're not talented enough, or the timing isn't right, or nobody would be interested. And all the while, the impulse builds and builds and builds. You may be at a point of overflow, where what's inside you is too big to contain anymore, where it needs to come out, not because of external pressure, but because of internal necessity. And expressing it, that might be one of the doors you need to walk through, one of the quiet, unremarkable looking opportunities that's actually significant. This reflection invites you to consider what's been trying to come out of you that you've been holding back. Let me talk about something else that's feeling genuinely unusual in what I'm picking up on. There's a quality of acceleration present in your life right now that doesn't match what's been happening before. Like time has sped up. Like things that used to take months are happening in weeks. Like the pace of change has genuinely shifted. Some people experience this as a feeling of being rushed, of not being able to keep up, of things moving faster than they can process. But it's also possible to experience it as exciting, as evidence that something significant is in motion, as proof that the stagnation you might have been feeling before is genuinely over. You may be feeling both at once, the overwhelm of the speed and the excitement of the movement. And both of those responses are completely valid. This reflection invites you to consider, are you experiencing a genuine acceleration in the pace of your life right now? It might be worth noticing, worth documenting, worth paying attention to, because if you're right in the middle of an unprecedented shift, you're going to want to remember what it felt like from the inside. There's something about trust that keeps coming up strongly. It's possible you're being asked right now to trust yourself more than you're used to trusting yourself, to make decisions based on internal knowing rather than external validation, to move forward based on gut feeling rather than guaranteed outcomes. Some people find this terrifying because trust means risk, and risk means you might be wrong, and being wrong means consequences. But it's possible you're more trustworthy than you give yourself credit for, that your internal compass is more reliable than you've been allowing it to be, that the answers you need are already inside you. You just haven't been listening closely enough. You remain in complete control of how you engage with what's currently happening. You can ignore it. You can sleepwalk through it. You can treat this period like any other period. Or you can wake up to it. You can pay attention. You can trust what you're sensing and feeling and knowing. You can engage with the unprecedented nature of what's present. The choice is yours. It always has been. You may notice that reading this has stirred something, maybe recognition, maybe curiosity, maybe a feeling of yes. Something is happening and I haven't been fully seeing it. Let that feeling guide you. Take what resonates, discard what doesn't. Trust what you know in your core. Before we close, I need to ask you something. What in your life right now feels different from how it's ever felt before? What's shifted that you haven't been able to name? Drop it in the comments if you feel ready to explore it. And what are you currently overlooking that might actually be significant? What would change if you started trusting your own internal compass more than external evidence? Never in 15 years of experience has something like this come out. And I mean that what's present around you right now is genuinely unusual, genuinely significant, genuinely worth paying attention to. Not eventually, not when you feel ready, right now, today, in this exact moment where convergence is happening, whether you see it or not. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you're in the middle of something extraordinary, even if it feels ordinary. Trust that the exhaustion you're feeling is evidence of massive change happening beneath the surface. Trust that the acceleration you're experiencing is real and meaningful. You don't need to understand it all at once. You just need to start paying attention. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, some of the most significant moments of our lives don't feel significant while we're in them. They just feel like Tuesday. But sometimes Tuesday is the day everything changes. Pay attention to your Tuesdays.